This will probably be the last one today, unless it's really fast.
First, I want to ask a question. Have you seen the Brokeback Mountain?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain. So when you finish that, when you after finished that movie, and what's the thinking of? Do you have some thinking of that movie? To that movie.
Never watched.
I like some gay.
So,
No, can't believe.
and like homosexual movie Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that? What do you think about that movie?
That's fair.
Yeah, because that I think Brokeback Mountain is very special because, for example, Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is another kind of homosexual movie. Talk about a guy is a homosexual to strike for his rights because he was fired by his boss when his boss found he got HIV. But I think Brokeback Mountain is different from other homosexual movie. Because Brokeback Mountain only focus on describe a kind of relationship between two guys, no matter the female or male. But in that movie, in this first I want to introduce a homosexual in films. This kind of movie chance in the Hollywood, and the first in the 1891, there is a movie showing two men dancing in a proactive physical intimacy. Although it is still difficult to assume that it is a science or film to talk about homosexual, but in that movie, there was also have some some little elements about homosexual. And in 1920s, this situation is so embraced because in that time, the film in Hollywood couldn't attract enough audience to go to the theater to see movie. So the filmmakers use images and scenes with shock value to attract people back to the watching movies. So in these times, the filmmakers will do some movie about homosexual to attract enough audience. In the 1930s and 1940s, there is a little development of homosexual movie because although considering the negative impact of homosexual movie, the film industry of America they set up some rules. They set some rules of homosexual movie. When a movie fit adjust to that rules, they can show in public. Just like now in China every movie need to send to the government to send them. So that's a later development of homosexual movie because in that time some kind of homosexual movie could be showed in public, and in the 1950s, where is it? Also in 1950s, although people can accept to see the homosexual movie, but in 1950s, people always think the public always thinks that homosexual is a kind of mental illness for that kind of people. In 1960s and 1970s, some active gays and lesbians, and they began to acquire some equal rights for them. In the 1980s, this film, the homosexual movie started showing some relationship between them. And in the 1990s, it has become a very common topic in the film. And in the 2021.
21st.
Yeah, 21st. And now we know that we can see all kinds of homosexual movie, and they are not only focused on to acquire rights. For example, Philadelphia, very famous movie, but they also focus on to harmful real love and real happiness, and to acquire found a real family for the homosexuals. But in I want to introduce Brokeback Mountain, and that talk about the two guys in American, in Western, in 1960s, and in 1960s, they fall in love with each other when they heard in Brokeback Mountain, they raised the ships. And in that period of time, they fall in love with each other. In that time, in the American society, homosexual was always forbidden. People couldn't accept that. But this movie, I think in this movie, they really true love. Between them, they have really true love. Although actually I couldn't, but it's okay. Just I couldn't become a lesbian, but when I finished, but when I saw that I can feel a deep and real love with two guys. But the end is tragedy. Jack died from an emergency. And before he died, he asked Annis many times, could you live with me together forever? But Jack said no. And some people will think this because Jack afraid of to be accused by others because he is homosexual. But in my opinion, and in some critics' opinion, this movie is made by Ang Lee. Ang Lee is Chinese, and she acknowledged that his movie was influenced by Chinese culture very much. So I think the reason for Annis and Jack couldn't live with each other is the Chinese culture elements. That two cowboys, and from picture we can see that they are stronger and tough men. And they all have families. They all have their They all have their own families, have their children, but sorry. Oh. They're homosexual, and they meet each other every year for sometimes for one month. Oh, I forgot that. In that movie, we can find a mantle of father, patriarchy.
Patriarchy.
Yeah, patriarchy. Yeah, because in Chinese in Chinese society, we have two important elements in China. One is Confucianism, and another is patriarchy. And in that movie, the mantle of father is obvious very clearly. For Annis, he was very afraid of his father, although his father died many years ago. But when he thought about his father, took him to see two dead men because they are homosexual and they were killed by neighborhoods, and Jack was very afraid of that. And he afraid of his father very much. He always think about my father couldn't wish me to become what kind of people. So that's obvious of patriarchy. And for Jack always in the movie he mentioned many times about his father. He mentioned what kind of my father, and I want to become the people like my father. So that's another obvious another argument about patriarchy. And from the Confucianism, we all know that in China we need to take care of not only our children but also our parents. So in that movie, the Annie asks Jack many times, could we live together with each other? And Jack says no. And Jack said no because Jack more focused on her daughter. He loved his daughter very much, so he couldn't want to feel guilty about his daughter, and couldn't want to be blamed by others. So that's the Confucianism thinking. And another homosexual move of Angle, the banquet wedding. This movie was made many years ago in 1990s. So maybe some people don't know this movie. This movie also talk about the homosexual, and actually these two guys fall in love with each other, but consider about there is this man named VI00008, and this girl named Wei Wei, and this named Mike. Mike over there, because his parents came from Taiwan to force VI00008 to marry, because in China we know that every man, they need to responsibility to continue their family's line. And so the VI00008 couldn't VI00008 don't want to his parents feel sad, so he married with this girl. Actually they just play a show for their parents. So that's another Confucianism elements existing in English movie. And maybe you can see their expression. They're very sad. So that's all about my presentation. Just to talk about the Chinese elements existing in the English movie, Brokeback Mountain and the banquet wedding. Thank you. Other question?
So I have a question.